Hello, I am Pastor Bill, and today we're going to be talking about how to go and make disciples. We're going to do that by talking about the Great Commission. We'll talk about different types of evangelism, and then we'll end up talking about discipleships and what disciples are. So let's get to it. In Matthew 28, verse 19, it states, "Therefore go and make disciples of all the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and of the Holy Spirit." So this is our charge from Jesus Christ himself to go out and make disciples. This isn't just for the pastors, preachers, teachers, and missionaries. It is for anyone who has decided to make Jesus Christ Lord of their life and be a follower of Christ. We too should go and make followers of Christ. And if we love Jesus, we will keep this and other commandments that he has laid out for us. I believe this is one of the charges that he has commanded us to do. So how do we go out and make disciples? Well, there's many different types of, many different ways to evangelize, many different ways to spread the good news of Jesus Christ. And I believe we already do many of these ways already, but here's a list of just a few of them. First, it's our testimony. First, it's about telling our story, what Jesus has done in our life, where we were in the past and where we are now, and how our life is better because of Jesus. There's the direct approach, as pastors do today, as Paul did in the yesteryears, about how he preached in the streets and synagogues and said that the good news of Jesus Christ is for everyone. That still rings true today, that the good news of Jesus Christ is for everyone. There's the invitational approach, where we simply just invite people to church events, and let them experience Jesus in that way. There's the apologetics approach, where we simply defend our beliefs in Jesus Christ, defend the fact that Jesus died and rose on the third day and is alive and well and is a living God, defeating sin and death for me and for the entire world. There's that personal approach, where we just make personal relationships with folks and just live life, with Jesus in our life. And I believe Jesus did this on a personal level, and I think that was his best approach. And we can see this in the story of the woman at the well from John chapter 4. Now, in this story, the plan was for Jesus to take this path through Samaria. Jesus was a Jewish rabbi and was not supposed to be talking with a Samaritan, let alone talking with a woman by herself, as the other disciples were off getting food. Now, Jesus spent time to get to know her on a personal level, and we can see the results of this fruit of his efforts at the end of the story in John chapter 4, verse 39. And it states, "Many of the Samaritans from that town believed in Jesus, because of that woman's testimony. He told me everything I ever did." So here it is, the perfect example of this evangelism that Jesus did. He got to know her on a personal level. Then she took her testimony to the townspeople. And because of her testimony, they were able to come and find Jesus and know Jesus on a personal level for themselves, which is what we want for everyone. Everybody needs to know a little bit more Jesus. So how can we go and make disciples then? Well, we can follow the example of Jesus. We stated a little bit before, but Jesus spent time with his disciples. Simon, Andrew, James, and John left everything on the shore, and they followed Jesus. They traveled together. He developed relationships. He lived life together with his disciples. So how much time are we spending with our fellow brothers and sisters? Jesus fellowshiped with his disciples. He broke bread with them, shared meals. We can see this in the feeding of the 5,000, the Last Supper, and that fish breakfast on the shore after he rose from the dead that he had with his disciples, communing with them and celebrating with them. How often are we sharing a meal with our fellow believers? And finally, Jesus sent them out to others. Matthew 10 tells us how Jesus gave them power and then sent them out. We need to guide and trust others to go make disciples as well. So let me share two more verses with you. In Mark 8, verse 34, he says, "Then he called the crowd to him along with his disciples and said, 'Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me.'" And in John 13, verse 34 and 35, it says, "So now I am giving you a new commandment. Love each other just as I have loved you. You should love each other. Your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples." So let us reflect and ask ourselves, how are we discipling others? Are we spending time with them? Are we sharing a meal with them? Are we doing life with them? Are we showing God's love to them and others? Showing them the example of what a disciple is and how to disciple? That is the question I leave with you today.